as of that time. The same thing is applicable to you people. There's nobody in this whole place that loves you more than your parents. Your parents will make input into whatever you want to do in the future, and it's important that you listen to them. Let there be a dialogue. And you may think, like some children think that, okay, they always know better than their parents. But the truth of the matter is that your parents, they have a whole lot of experience. A lot of experience. They know quite a lot that you don't know in terms of growing up, in terms of becoming somebody in the society, in terms of becoming responsible. They will be giving you advice, and you have to listen to them. And if, I'm not saying that, everything my parents said was what I did, but then, at least most of the things they were telling me then, there were wisdom in them. And I listened, and we discussed. They continue to advise me, and they continue to guide me. So it's important that you listen to your parents. Let there be dialogue. Let there be communication. It's very, very important. And when we talk about passion, what you like to do, what you think because you're going to be stuck with it for a very long time. It's a future thing. So you must like what you say you want to do. Very important. But then, that important thing that you like to do is also very, very important, that that important thing is able to pay a living wage in the future. Because it is very, very important. You must be able to pay your bills. I can't say, okay, I want to be a footballer, or I want to be an athlete. That athlete that I want to be, or that footballer that I want to be, how is he going to be able to pay my bills in the future? Because you will grow up, and you definitely need to be on your own. You need to raise a family, and you need to be able to, you look at your surroundings and look at the people around you, the people that are doing those things that you say you want to be. How many of them? For example, people might say, those that do acting, or those that do this, they are usually able to pay their bills. How many of them? In the sense that not all the things that you like to do, even if you do it at the extreme level of success, not all of them is able to pay the question and answer. I'll be able to share some examples of what I'm trying to pass across to you people. But one thing that stands sure is that you people are situated in the land of opportunity. There's no better. I wish my parents had brought me here at this your age. If I had come here with my parents at this your age, in fact, I would have I would have gone to the moon. But then, be that as it may, you have to understand yourself. You have to like what you have to understand. You have to know what you can do and what you will not do. But importantly, your parents have done well by bringing you to the land of opportunity. It's now left for you to harness the opportunity that is in this place. You have to have it in mind. What do I want to become in the future? And that future is very important. When you conceive it in your heart, and you believe it, and you pray about it, God will help you to make it to happen. That is the way it is, that you are blessed to be in America. So don't allow it to pass you by. Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord. I'm going to see it to make it more of a very informal way, because that's really what we want to the atmosphere we want to set up today. As I was listening to Brother Sam discussing about the things you have to consider, I took away two things. Okay, maybe just wrapping it up, that there has to be, when you think about your career, you have to have a passion for it. There has to be passion, right? If you have a passion and there is that desire and love for something, it's easier, okay? And you flow easier on that, right? And your work doesn't become, bored or boring or frustrating to you. So working alongside or choosing something alongside your passion is important. He also touched on whatever you choose, being able to pay a living wage, right? You wouldn't say, I like photography, and you are not even at the best level, like I said, the best level of that job. It doesn't pay what you need to live on, right? You may want to kind of take a step back. So those are the two things that he touched on. That's fine. I am going to maybe build on that and also look at it from a different angle. But before I start, I just want to ask, looking at the room here and assessing people's age, most of us are in high school. Is anybody in college right now? Or this is just high schoolers? High schoolers, great. The prime time, actually, right? So we talk about the career, and you still have a lot of time to work towards that. I'll just add one more point to what he said before I go at it at another angle. When you have a passion, okay, and being able to distinguish your passion, which skills versus from hobby, right? And you also considered living wage. So those are good. But I think one very important point I want to touch on is being able to look ahead and think ahead, right? The availability and the prospect, when I say prospect, outlook of whatever you want to be 5 years, 10 years down the road, given the changing trend. Because I grew up in Nigeria, most of us grew up in the panel here, grew up in Nigeria maybe. I remember those days, there are some professions that if you look now, they are no longer there. Things have moved on. The trend in the world has moved on. So when you are considering what you want to do, it's good also to think about how are things moving on. Right now, we know technology is the way things are going. If you are really focusing on a work that is so physical now, you may miss out. 2 years down the road, the work will completely disappear. So you need to sit back and think about how the trend in the world is going. What is the job outlook of what you want to do? And that's probably where your parents and counselors and everybody come in to guide you. Hey, you say you want to do this. The way trends are moving, this job may probably disappear, right? That may help you and guide you to make sure that you are well prepared to take on even the changing landscape as you move ahead. So it's important that you have a view of how the world is moving. So that's the third point, that building on what Brother Sam has said. But when I think about myself, think about my career, think about my journey so far, I want to kind of look back and wonder, and if I know now, okay, no, if I knew then what I know now, How would I have prepared myself for my lifetime, 30 years, 20 years, 10 years in career? What would I do differently? And I think that is the level where you are right now, okay? To think about how to prepare yourself for a 30-year career, 20-year career. What are employers, business people, what are people looking at when they want to employ? So that you can better prepare yourself for that kind of life, right? It may not necessarily be paid employment where somebody pays you. It could also be entrepreneurship where you earn your own money. There are so many things out there one can do, but at your age, you have to begin to ask yourself, what are the skill sets do I need? As an employer wants to employ somebody that is very resourceful, right? Gone are the days when you say, oh, I am this, and you stick to that, and you close your mind to what every other person is doing around you. So this is the age to really be resourceful, to learn as much as you can in different areas. Develop interest in so many things. You don't know where you may need it. You don't know where your interest will push you. So you are in high school, there are career fairs, there are clubs that introduce you to so very many aspects of life that you don't know of, I never knew of. It's time to be curious. It's time to explore. It's time to really understand things and prepare yourself with so many skills that are available for you at this time. So I would just want to kind of say, if I know, I would have learned so many things. I would have picked interest in some things that I never really kind of thought of. I am an engineer now, but I would have picked interest in some professions, at least to know what they are doing, at least to understand what they are doing. It's very good to be resourceful, and this is the time to begin to learn all those skills. So do not be myopic and just focus, I want to be a doctor, the only thing I'm going to know how to do is biology or whatever. No, pick interest in what sociology or what engineers are doing. You may not be an expert in it, but you have an understanding of how that is. So that is how to, first of all, make yourself gain all the knowledge that you need to make yourself resourceful when you go out there. I've kind of had situations, I would just wonder and say, if I had known, I would have learned this when I had opportunity to learn it. But I missed out on that opportunity because I was just myopic and focusing in just one direction. So make yourself versatile. This is the age that you can actually broaden out and learn as much as you can. One of the things that people or employers now look for is people that have business acumen, commercial acumen. That is, even if you are a doctor, you still have to have the commercial acumen to work and get to the high top in your profession. If you are an engineer and you want to get to the very top, you have to be able to move away a little bit and have a broader view of the economics and the bottom line in every situation. So employers want to know people that, very resourceful, that can do and attempt many things, people that have business acumen, some sense of commerce. And you can develop it at the stage. This is the time to join some of the clubs in your school that will give you that experience. This is the time to actually shadow some people where you can get some of those commercial and business sense. You need it. So this is, I guess the point I'm trying to say is that there are some things that employers look out for. And you are at the point in your life where you should begin to pick up those skills. Those skills are easily transferable. Whatever you decide you want to do, you will need to be that resourceful. You need to have that commercial sense. So this is the time to do that. Give yourself that opportunity in school, in internships or whatever, to pick up some of those skills that you can easily transfer from one to the another. You need some leadership skills. I know, hey, I'm not a leader, but in every profession you need to rise up to lead yourself and lead people, maybe one or two people. You need that. So how do I get that leadership? I want to be an engineer, but you need to be some form of leadership to do well in it. So how do you pick up that? This is the time to begin to, you have opportunity in your school clubs to lead, to show yourself leading, even if it's one small thing. So you are picking up some of those skills that you need to do well in your career, right? Even if you want to be a doctor, you want to help. there is still some aspects of skills or that people hiring a doctor will want to see, that compassion and all that. Where do you try it out? It's even in the high school that you begin to do that. So my point is, while you can be anything, there are some things that are definitely common across all the professions, your professions that you want to be. And those skills, to me, are more important than me giving you specifying one, telling you, oh, you can be one, this is the job that you're going to be. If you have all the skills and all the basics that cuts across all professions, you can actually switch from one to the other as the landscape moves on. I know those days when you start as an engineer, you die an engineer. It's not necessarily so. I've seen engineers switch to become something else as times move on. I've seen people that are teachers become astronauts. I've seen this. Why are they able to do that? Because they have skills that you can easily transfer from one place to the other. So we are in a very dynamic society now, right? I've seen, I think it was Condoleezza Rice, that I think she read history, something like that, or music. She read music. She didn't need music as the Secretary of State, but I bet you she picked up all the skills that she could easily transfer to that. Right? So to me, the skill sets that cuts across any profession is really very important first. That's the thing I would try to do. Then, as I move on, it gives you the flexibility to move from one thing to the other, to switch. Because honestly, passions may change. That's the truth. This is a very dynamic world. Your passion today may be different from what becomes your passion the next day. May be different from what God burdens your mind with, you know. So, but making sure that you have all the skills that you need for your career, to me, is where I wish I focused on. I prepared myself for when I was younger. If I had done that, then it's easier. I started off as an engineer, but honestly, in the last 10 years, I've not really done actual engineering. I've moved on. What is, to become, some other profession. So you're able to kind of switch, but you have skills that you can transfer from one to the other. So take time now and build on those skills. I talked about business acumen and all that. That is important. I cannot overemphasize that. This is the time to actually also develop that. For us, I didn't think, I had a narrow mind that, hey, you have to have a paid employment to be successful in life. No, not necessarily. There are some skills, artisan skills, I wish I knew how to, I picked up when I was small. So even you here, ladies, you can learn additional things. You can do, the Bible talked about having streams of income, right? There are people that they are in this career, but they have other streams of income. It could be those hobbies that they try to develop a little bit more. It could be those things that they picked up, then they develop a little bit more and becomes a stream of income for them. So my idea is, I just want to encourage that. This is a time to gain skills, all-round skills that you can transfer to wherever you want to become. I will leave, I will kind of pause now and move it on to.
Praise the Lord. How many of you are having a great time? I know it's a lot of resources, and please make sure that if you want a pen, I notice some of you don't have a book in your hand. You want to write down some of these things so that you can always come back and revisit it, all right? Praise the Lord. All right, before we move on to our next presenter, let's take just a 3-minute water break. If you need to use the restroom, grab the bottles of water just at the end of the corridor. If you want to grab one, and then we'll resume in about 3 minutes, all right? Praise the Lord. Hello? Hello? You guys having a good time? Anybody sleeping? Sleeping? Okay. So we're about to move on to our next presenter. If you need paper, pen, let me know. Remember, as I said earlier, make sure you're jotting down your questions so that we have all your questions answered today. I know some of you have 100 questions. Maybe we can't get to 100, but we can answer at least a quarter of those questions, all right? Icon, you need a paper? Okay. Praise the Lord. All right, we're about to move on to our next presenter, Dr. Aziza. Can we get a round of applause?
Good afternoon, all. Hi. Okay, I'm trying to make it as informal as possible because I believe that's how we can relate. Because I remember when I was growing up, we had career fairs in school. It's like they are way up there and we're down here. And it was hard really communicating what they were telling us. But I want to make it as informal as possible. It's an opportunity to be here. When I was growing up, I had this opportunity also. Yes, I listened to some of them. I took the advice I could take. It made me what I am today. And I thank God for that. But one thing I want to say is you people are even more privileged because a lot of people that are your mates might not have this opportunity in school, in their church or whatever. But you are having this opportunity, and I want you all to take it very, very seriously. I want to thank the Mr. Sam and the wife. They did a very good job. It was to me, it was they saw my presentation. I never knew where they were coming from, but I was let me do something a little different from what they told me I was coming here to do. I don't believe in coming here to tell you about what I do, trying to recruit you into my profession. No. That's not my job. It's your job to determine what exactly you want to be in life. And just like he said, you have to have a passion for what you want to do. That passion should be able to pay your bills, take care of your family, take care of your needs and your wants, as the case may be. So that's what I'm here to do today, not to tell you about my profession. Oh, it's so great. This is what I do. I want to. No, it's not my job. It's your job. So having said all that, I'm Dr. Vincent Aziza. I'm a pharmacist by profession. Before I was a pharmacist, I was a geologist. I don't know if most of you know what geologists do. I was a geologist, so I've gone to different areas. And I can testify to them that work in Shell also. Yes, they are engineers, but most of the time you start as an engineer, eventually you migrate into other areas, IT, different area basically. So the fact that you are an engineer today doesn't mean you die as an engineer. And that is what the world is revolving into now. All the traditional careers you used to know back then, they are no more. Maybe, yes, engineer is still an engineer, doctor is still a doctor, but you hear some professional, you're like, what are they saying? What do they do? What is it all about? That is where it is your job to determine what those professions are, how you can key into the trend that is in vogue now. Because trust me, in the next 10 years, most of what you've seen today will be no more. It's going to be an evolving world. Next slide, please. How many of us know who this is? Who's that? That's Denzel Washington. He said, luck is when opportunity comes along and you are prepared for it. You're growing up now. You're going to have a lot of opportunities. You're going to see things. You're going to experience different things in life. But those things you're experiencing in life, you have to be prepared to take advantage of those opportunities that are coming your way. If you're not prepared for those opportunities, they're just going to pass you by. Next. Those people that are prepared for those opportunities are the people that we key in, get themselves established and move on in life. So things are changing really fast now. Remember, 2 years ago, there was no COVID. Now COVID came, it changed the world, basically. Most people that are like going to offices now, they don't even see the need why they should go to office anymore, because the structure is in place for them to work from home and monitor that they are very, very productive. So that's where the world is leading to now. So if you think, okay, opportunities are going to be there, you take your time to want to get it, you have to take your time, but you have to be prepared to take this opportunity as they come. Next slide. So when you look at your career, for example, you're like, okay, is it a function of luck or is it logic? That's a personal opinion. To me, it's luck and logic. Because yes, you want to be this today, but you don't know how it's going to turn out tomorrow. The first speaker said, your passion will change with time. What you like now may not be what you like 5 years from now. And I know most of you have experienced that. There are things you like now when you're growing up, but 3-4 years later, you're like, what was I doing all that? I thought I loved those. A lot of you are playing Roblox now. In the next 4 years, Roblox will be obsolete, and you talk of the next thing. I remember when this spinning thing came. Everybody was into it, want to play with it, but now we don't even talk about it anymore. That's just how the life is. It's going to keep changing. So your career choice is a function of, to me, a function of luck and logic. But you have to be tactical about how you choose your career. Next slide. Next, please. So the question now is, when do you start planning for your career? Do you wait until you get to college and then you try to make up your mind, or you don't like this, you change again? You're wasting time doing all that. So the best time to actually plan for your career is for you to take advantage now. You don't have to wait until you get to college. By show of hand, how many of you know where you're going to, what you want to be tomorrow, or have an idea? That's great. You should have an idea of what you want to be, and then align yourself with those ideas. Okay, this is what I want to be. Align yourself with it so that you achieve those goals. It's just like you want to go to Dallas, for example. Now, you don't have a direction of how you get to Dallas. How are you going to get to Dallas? You're not going to get there. So you have to have a plan of what you want to be in life now, so that your plan in life is aligned. You don't waste time doing what you don't want to do. Next, please. So, and for you to be successful, it's like an iceberg. You see the tip at the top, but a lot is put into it for you to be successful. Look at it this way. You are a student now. You face a lot of challenges, disappointment. Your parents shout on you. You have to do this. You have to do that. You face all that as you grow up as a child. But all those things are to make you who you're going to be tomorrow. So what people see is going to be the tip of the iceberg. Oh, he's very successful. But they don't know how much work, how much disappointment, how much failures you have encountered. Just like the person that invented the light bulb, for example. He tried so many times before he got the success. But everybody look at the success like it's just a single try that made this light bulb. That wasn't the case. And things you see in life are just like that. You go through challenges, you're discouraged, you're frustrated, different things happen, but you just have to remain focused in what you want to be in life. Next, please. So like I said earlier on, most of these traditional jobs, lawyers, engineers, they're still going to be there, but there are some other professions out there that, we need them inclusive to have a functional society. But those professions are not to be neglected. But you want to choose a career that is going to make you comfortable in life, just like your parents are. They have this opportunity. They came down here. They brought you here on a platter of gold. But they have struggled to be who they are today, to make you comfortable so that you can continue the legacy. Sorry, man. So that you can continue the legacy. So what I'm saying is, choose a career that's going to take care of you, your family tomorrow. based on the present trend. Yes, your parent may want you to be a doctor, an engineer. If you don't have a flair for it, the earlier speaker said, it's going to be a dialogue. You have a conference, constitutional conference. Look, this is not what I want to be. This is what I want to be. But you have to be able to prove your point. Don't tell me you want to be an athlete. It's great. It's great to be an athlete, don't get me wrong. But how many percentage of those athletes are actually successful? Very few. In an NBA team, for example, now you don't have more than 15 players that are really successful. The rest are just struggling, moving from one team to another, trying to establish themselves. So it's great to be an athlete, but are you at that capacity where you say, yes, you are one of the best in that field? If you are not, then you have to reconsider your steps. You have to put in more work to get you to that level where you're like, oh, without me, I know the team is going to like fail. You know, something like that. Next, please. Next. So, what are the criteria that you use when you're choosing a career option? The earlier speaker just like read my slide and he highlighted most of this thing, but I'm just like condensing them so that you see them clearer. You know, you want to have a career. You get out of college, for example, now. You have 0 experience. Maybe you have 6 months experience or a year experience based on your internship. That's all you have. Yes, they want to hire someone that has experience. Most companies now, they don't want to train you. They'll tell you, okay, this is what we want. This is what we want. This is the kind of experience we're looking for. How do you get an experience when you don't have a job? You're just getting out of school. So most companies now, they want candidates with experience coming into the job. You have to have some level of experience. When you are doing internship, you have to like be proactive. Gather all the knowledge that you can get. Do all the things that you don't even imagine yourself doing just because you are in the process of making yourself who you want to be. You have to have the interest, what they call the passion. If you don't have a passion for what you're doing, there's no point putting yourself in that position. Have a passion for what you want to do in life. If that passion is going to drive your career to the next level, you have to have some kind of value. Are you the type that like traveling a lot, for example? Getting a job that's going to tie you in one place may not be something that you want to do. Are you an introvert, you don't like working with people? A job that exposes you to customer, for example, is not something you want to do, or marketing is not something you want to do. So you have to have a value. Okay, what is it that I like to do as a person? Of course, you have to have the level of education. Know what you want to do. What is the criteria for my educational criteria for what I want to do? You have to know all that. Your skill set is equally important. Most jobs now, I mean, you just have to have some knowledge of computer literacy. If not, you're going to be left in the dark. So you have to like have some skill sets, both soft skill, people skill, any skill that you can get. It's limitless. So don't limit yourself, or you have to like have this particular skills and you sit with that. Don't do that. Expose yourself to a lot of skills, because tomorrow you don't know when you're going to need those skills. Just have them behind you. Okay, I have this skill. I'm developing this skill. I'm mastering this key. Keep all of them, because tomorrow you may be a leader and then you will be in a position to use some of those skills as well. And then you equally have to have a goal. What is your short-term goal? You start a job today. In the next 3 years, where do you see yourself? You go for an interview, for example, they're going to ask you, in the next 5 years, where do you see yourself? What are you bringing to the table? You should have a goal. If you don't have a goal, then it's going to be difficult for you to fit yourself into an establishment, because they want to know what you're bringing to the table, not what you're getting. Of course, they're going to pay you, but they want to know what you're bringing to the table. Next, please. So, this is now the next point. It is all about you. Your parents, everybody around you, your guardian, they are here to guide you to where you want to get to. But it's all about you. You have to make some assessment, some evaluation. Assess yourself. Who am I as a person? If you don't know yourself as a person, then it's going to be difficult for you to have a career plan that's going to be successful. You want to be a marketing person, for example, and you're an introvert. Yes, you can still make it, learn on the job, you become tough and, weather it out. But it may not be your interest at the end of the day. So, first of all, you want to learn about yourself. What is it about myself? Don't worry. What is it about myself? What do I know about myself? When you know yourself, you know exactly the direction that you want to go to. You want to evaluate your skill set. What are the skill sets I have for this profession? Does this skill set fit into this profession that I want to be, or it doesn't? If it does, then what is next? You research about the career. Okay, this career I want to be in, what is it all about? Is this something I want to do on the long run, or is something I want to do temporarily, and then I move on tomorrow? You want to look into all that also. So you have to do your personal research, because your parents are not going to do all that for you. Your parents may know, you be a doctor. They already know what doctor does. That one is established. But if you want to be a data analyst, for example, you want to sell that to your parents, it's going to be difficult because they don't understand what that profession is all about. But trust me, it's one of the professions that is way out there now. Everybody wants to be a data scientist, data analyst, because everything we do in life now, it's all data driven. I remember 10, 15 years ago when I came to the US, your house phone barely rings unless somebody knows your home number. But now it's like you're sleeping, your phone ring. Middle of the night, your phone ring. Any time of the day, your home phone ring. It's like, how did they get all those information? You gave it out, but they kept those data, and they are using it against you now. So you have to research about the career that you want to be in later. And then the next thing is you want to link your major with your career. Basically, what that means is you're in school right now, and then you're like, okay, I'm in biology, but you want to be, what do I say? Maybe you want to be a computer scientist. You cannot be in biology, I want to be a computer scientist. If you're majoring in biology, you cannot be a computer scientist. That is misplaced priority. So you have to know your major, and then how does the major key into the career that you want to be in. Next, please. Just click. Okay. Okay, so for you to plan your career, you have to establish what are the steps to achieve this career goal. You want to be a doctor, for example. Okay, what do I need to do from high school to the time I put in an application to get into a medical school? You have to do that research. Your parents will not do those research for you. And that's one thing, that's why I say it's all about you. This age is all about driving yourself. Societies don't drive anybody anymore. You have to drive yourself to where you want to go to in life. So you want to know the next step for you to establish your career plan. I want to be a doctor. What do I need to do? You have to take these classes, talk to people that have been in the field before, network with other people, and see where they got, how they got there. Will you be able to study further? Sometimes in life, like I told you, I was a geologist before. I went back to become a pharmacist. Of course, it wasn't an easy transition. I had to drop all what I knew before, came to a different field that I had no idea about. So the thing is, in life, your passion may change. When your passion changes, are you willing to put in that extra level of education to changing your career? Now, if you are not, then you better make the right decision from the beginning so that your transition around career will be a lot easier. And then you have to do your research. Research is very key now. It's so unfortunate that most of the youths now, what they do with their cell phone, it's what I don't even understand. They waste so much time on their phone than things that are even more important to them. Yes, your parents bought the phone basically to call them when you need help. But, of course, they're still going to put all the services because that is what it all entails now. There's no way you can say, okay, just give them a phone that's going to, make calls and receive calls, that's it. But you have to make use of this technology for your advantage. So if you tell me you don't have time to do this, but you have time to be on social network, if you have that time, then you have the time to do the research. Because basically this is a mini computer. You can do whatever you want to do on this phone and you can still achieve what you want to achieve. Next slide. So about career planning, just to reiterate, because this is the key point that I really want to drive home. It is all about you. Even if you don't get anything from our discussion today, just know that your future, your career plan, your career decision, it's all about you. You have to drive yourself to success. Driving yourself to success, you have to put in the research. You have to make the decision. You have to stand by your decision. You have to set goals. You have to take action. You have to explore yourself. What is it that I like as a person? If you do all that well, then you have a career plan that's going to be successful. So drive yourself to success. Bring the initiative to the table. Mommy, daddy, this is what I want to do. This is why I want to do this. This is the reason why. When you give all those reasons, I know you have done more than enough research on your part. We are here to guide you. I'm not going to tell my child, for example, okay, I want you to say do or die, you have to be this. If you don't do this, no. Because you are the one that's going to do it at the end of the day, not me. Do what you feel comfortable doing that's going to make you happy and life less stress for you. Next, please. Next slide. So what are the steps that you want to take in attaining a success in your career? We've said it over and over again. It's all about your passion. If you're not passionate about something, then it's going to be a burden on you. You don't want to do something that's going to be a burden on you. You have to look at the trend. What's trending now? What is in trend now? Will it be in trend in the next 5, 6, 10, 20 years? He said earlier on, he worked in Shell for 20 years? About 20 plus years. So you look at your career as something you want to do for a very long time. We're not talking of doing something for 1 year, 2 years, and then you're tired of it, and then that's it. No, this is what you're doing, like it's part of you. So you want to develop a good passion. You want to do your research. This thing that this career I want to go into, is it worth it? Will it be able to take care of myself, my family, my needs, my wants? You all know what wants and needs are. Need is something you cannot do without. Want is you want everything. You go to the store, you want everything. But do I really need this? That's the question you want to ask yourself. So you want to do that also. And then you want to ask yourself some important questions, tough questions. Not because my friend is doing it, I want to do it too. No, those are not the kind of question. You have to ask yourself some tough question as in, will I be happy doing this for the rest of my life? Is this something I'm happy with? If it's not, then there's no point. Think of something else. You want to have a SMART goal. I'm going to talk about that later on, what the SMART goal is all about. You want to develop an action plan because you have to take action. You can do all your research, do all what you need to do, but if you don't take an action, then all your effort will be in vain. So you want to take an action. And then as you go along, you definitely make adjustments in life. You're going a path, for example, there's hold up. What do? You look for the next available route to reroute yourself and then get back to your destination. That's what life is all about too. You take a hit, hold up, you take a detour, you find your way around, but at the end of the day, you want to make sure your focus is still in line. You don't want to lose that focus. Next, please. Next slide. Okay, so about the SMART goal. So basically what the SMART goal is about you being specific about what you want. Don't tell me, oh, you want to be this, or you want to be that, or you want to be this. It's not going to help you because you're just like all over the place. You have to be specific about what you want. What is it that you want to be in life? Be specific. 2, you want it to be measurable. Okay, you want to be an engineer, for example. What kind of engineer do you want to be? There are a lot of different aspects of engineer. Electrical, mechanical, civil, you name it. But there are a lot of them. But what is it that you want to be? You want it to be measurable. Measurable in the sense that, okay, if I get into this program, for example, I want to be an engineer. An engineer takes about 4 or 5 years. In the next 5 years, I should be an engineer. Not in the next 7, 8 years. That's not measurable. So you put yourself, okay, you want to be an engineer. 5 years from now, I'm an engineer. That is something that is measurable. You want to be a doctor. 7, 10 years, you're already a doctor. That's measurable. So you want to be specific about all those. Next thing is attainability. It's what I want to do. Is it attainable? That's why you have to know yourself. If you know you have difficulty reading and you say you want to be a lawyer, I don't think that's attainable. Because as a lawyer, you read a lot. You read like a page and you grab all the information that you need to get and you understand it, you understand the concept and everything. That's how quick it is. So if you say you want to be a lawyer and you're not good at reading, then it's going to be a problem. So that one is not attainable. And then you want to look at how relevant it is. Things are changing every day. COVID changed a lot of things. A lot of people that had job before COVID, now they don't have a job. A lot of places that were on rental, most of them are looking for clients now to even get them to people to occupy them. A lot of things are changing. So you have to look at how relevant is what you want to do in relation to what is trending now. So the last time is you have to be time conscious. You have all the time now to make your mistakes between now and when you make your decision and go into college. But we don't want you to make any mistake. We want you to hit it and hit it right and go in and out. So you have to be time conscious. Time bound. 5 years from now, I'm graduating. I'm what I want to be. 10 years from now, I'm graduating. I'm what I want to be. That is our goal. That is our dream. That is why we are here to tell you. So everything you have to be time conscious. Don't waste your time. Do this for 1 year, 2 years. Oh, mommy, daddy, I don't like it. You've wasted money. You've wasted time. You've wasted resources. You're not reinventing the wheel and going over the whole place again. It's not going to help you. So make your decision, stick by it. It's not going to be easy. I said it earlier on. It's not going to be easy. No profession, you said it, no profession in life is easy. Even if they say you should come and be a security, just sit down here, doing nothing. Trust me, when you get home, you'll be tired. You'll be tired. I've done it before. I used to be a security when I came to the US. You get home, you finish, you sit down on a chair, you're not doing anything. You're not even talking to anybody. You sit down and you get home, you're tired, you're exhausted. That's how hard it is. So it's not like any profession, there's no shortcut in life. You have to put in the time. Disappointment are going to come. You have to stand up to those challenges and, brave to it. Next, please. So in life, we all want all of you here to be successful. We want you to get to the peak where you want to be. It's our pride as parents to say, oh, my child is doing this, my child is here, my child is this and that. That is our pride. But for you to get there, we are here to guide you. But you have to assess yourself. Who am I as a person? How can I get to that goal? Am I relevant in that field? It's what I'm doing now relevant to what is trending and what is in vogue now. And it's going to be in vogue in the next couple of years to come. You want to analyze all those, and then you have to meet with your counselor. They are there to guide you. In school, you all have counselor. They may not give you all the information you need. That's why I always say this. It's going to be on you. You have to drive yourself to success. Your counselor is limited by what they know. But you have to go do the extra work in determining exactly what you want to be in life. And at the end of the day, I'm very optimistic. Opportunities will come. When those opportunities come, the question is, are you prepared to take those opportunities? That's why we are having this. Next, please. Next. So success is never ending. So the fact that you're successful today doesn't mean that's the end of the whole world. You hit a success today. when you go to school, for example, you graduate from college, what do they say? They say your commencement, right? They say you're commencing. That means it's the beginning of a new thing. It's never ending. So the fact that you commenced today, you graduated, it's not the end. There are still more opportunities out there for you to tap into. So success is never ending. And the fact that you fail doesn't mean it's final. It's not the end. We will fail. We make certain decisions in life that's going to like, oh my God, but you have to like be able to pick yourself up. We don't want you to make all those mistakes. We want you to like get it once and get it right. Once you get it once and get it right, we're not talking of failure. So failure will not be in our portion in Jesus' name. So I wish you all a very great career ahead of you. You will all be successful in Jesus' name. Next, please. So finally, we'll get a trophy. The trophy will be ours. Click again. But one thing I want you to know is you have to starve yourself of distractions. America is great, but you have a lot of distraction around you that's going to deter you from getting to where you want to be. If you are able to starve your distractions and focus on your passion, then we'll be able to get the trophy. So the distraction, it's wasting time in things that are not important. You can be on your phones. I have a problem with phones with kids for some reason. When I was in school, in college, there was one of our lecturers. The moment he comes into the class, guess what? Every phone is on silence, like it doesn't ring. If he hears his phone, even vibrates, that person that has the phone that is vibrating leaves the class, or he leaves the class. And that class is considered thought. That's in America here. I'm not talking of Nigeria. In America here. He has that policy. So anybody that comes to the class, your phone rings, even vibrate, he hears it vibrating. It's like, who is that? And you have to leave. If you don't leave, in the next 30 seconds, 1 minute, it's off. That topic is taught. So we're not saying don't be on your phone, but make use of this technology that you have to your advantage. Once you do that, you are in good shape and the sky will be your limit. So what I'm saying is starve yourself out of this distraction. Don't distract yourself. You're researching something. From that research, you go to Facebook. From Facebook, Instagram. From Instagram, that's how you jump around. TikTok. That's how you jump around. At the end of the day, what took you to that phone, you're not achieving it. You go the next day, it's the same cyclic things. Focus on what is important and what your passion is. And with that, I want to say a very big thank you. It's an opportunity to be here to talk to you about my career.
Praise the Lord. How many of us are empowered? How many of us? That was a great presentation. Thank you so much, Dr. Azizu, for that. We're going to make sure that we have those PowerPoints available to you all, okay? After our program, we'll send out an email, probably the best way for you guys to access the PowerPoint, all right? How many of you are ready to starve your distractions? I'm hearing crickets. Okay, one person. Some of you cannot stay on Fortnite for 10 minutes. While mommy is calling you, they're on Fortnite. I said, Mommy, I need to finish this, right, Tammy? I'm calling Tammy out. Praise the Lord. All right, real quick, we're going to jump into our next presentation. If you need water in water break, there's water at the back again, okay? Make sure you're staying hydrated. After our presentation, we're going to have our Q&A, so make sure you're having those questions and answers so we can quickly move through the program. Praise the Lord. All right, I'd like to introduce our third presenter. Round of applause for Pastor Mrs. Agay.
Thank you so much. Okay, thank you so much for that gracious introduction. Dr. Aziza, thank you so much. That was a very, very good presentation. I gained so much from it. So thank you. Okay, we're talking career. So there's something behind what everybody is saying that they have not mentioned, but I know it's behind what they have all said. So that's going to be my own concentration. I'm going to kind of concentrate a little bit. I'm not going to give you so much information. I'm just going to say a daily, I'm going to talk about what you have heard daily, what your mom, you know, is the moms, they are the ones that we don't like the most, teenagers. What your mom or your parent, your dad constantly says that you don't listen to, I'm going to focus on that a little bit. And this is why. Okay, my name is Buki Age. And I went to school as an accountant. I did accounting. I went on to do my MBA. What else did I achieve? Okay, but but all of that I don't use today. I don't use today. Why? Because I'm a stay-at-home mom. So I'm going to try a little bit to kind of talk a little bit about that. And what I'm going to talk about is balancing life. Balancing life. And then, so that's where I come to say there's something that all of them are not voicing out, but at the back of it all, God is the one that helps you to balance life. And so that's where I will take my own point from. That's going to be my stand to talk today. I'm not making a presentation. God helps you to balance. And I will start from what all of them have mentioned, time. I tell my children that time is the greatest resource given to every human being. How many hours do we have in a day? How many people have 23 hours a day? How many people have 25? Who has 30? Nobody. 24 hours a day. That's what God has given to each and every human being to make use of. So what happens? Depends on how I choose to use my own. Depends on how you use your own. So I was asking my children, okay, resource, if we're asked to pay for the time we use, how many people will be able to afford it? We won't be able to afford it, and I will explain why. Because we waste time a lot. And so they say, all the time you waste, you are going to pay. Let's assume, okay, whatever time, let's say we're paying $25, let me start from there, $25 an hour for the time we use. And so if you are constructive, they pay you $25 an hour. But guess what? If you waste time, you pay $30 an hour. How many teenagers will not be broke today? Do you understand my question? The time that you waste, they say you pay back $30 an hour for the time you waste. Do you know any teenager that will not be broke today? None. And it boils down to the fact that what we use our time for. Time is the most precious resource. You know, when Dr. Aziza was talking, he said some people go to college and they have gone to pay the money, they've gone to pay, and then what happened? The money you paid wasted. What of the time you used? What of the time you used? You know, I sit down a lot. How many of us are 13 years old here? I'm 13. Oh, nobody. Okay, I'm 14. Oh, you're 13. Good. Tycoon, right? Okay, good. How many of us are above 13 here? Okay, so we have a majority of us are above 13. 13, I use the age 13 because that's the age I always want to go back to. I sit down and I tell myself, if I had a choice to go back, I will go back to age 13. Age 13, and I'll start to pay attention from there. So if you're 13, you're 14, you're 15, you're 16, you're 17, you're 18, you're 19, you're 20, you are privileged. Why? Because you can now start to pay attention, pay particular attention, very particular attention to the things that are happening in your life. And the way we can pay particular attention is relying on God to help us. In the book of Jeremiah chapter 1, God was talking to Jeremiah. He said, before I formed you, I knew you. And so what am I saying? That each and every one of us, we are giving time to fulfill purpose. There is a purpose why I'm here, and I have to find that out. In all of their sayings, that's what they said. Whatever interests you, whatever makes you, So there is a purpose, and my prayer is that each and every one of us will find our purpose on time, and we will fulfill it in Jesus' name. That those careers we're trying to pursue, what will it do to us? It will help us. It will help us that our purpose and the career we're pursuing right now, they will click together and work together, that we may be fulfilled in the mighty name of Jesus. Time. Every one of us is going to give account of it. I will. You will. We will give account of the time. And so start now to put, I took my children to get vaccine. They went to get the second dose of their vaccine last week. And so we're going out of the place, and my son said, Mommy, can I use your phone? What's going on? I want to take a picture. I'm like, for what? Oh, for my story. I'm like, okay. Story, so that, my story, I'll put it on so that when people see that I've taken my 2 doses of vaccine, I may encourage some other people to go take their own. So, what am I saying? What are those things that we spend our time on? Pay particular attention to it. These things I'm using my time for. Is it edifying? 1. Is it necessary? 2. Is it going to make me better? 3. Pay particular attention to it. Some of us will like to just, oh God, I took it. I've just dressed. I'm not talking of only teenagers. Adults do it. So when I'm talking to you, I'm talking to maybe the wave, the wave of what is going on now. I just bought this dress and I look so cute in it. Please take me a picture. Take me a picture. Thank God for our phones that we can do selfie. We put it on our page. Oh wow, you're looking so cute. Look, the way she did her hair, I love the hair. Did you see her shoes? Did you see the jeans? Did you see the top? Those are the things that we pay particular attention. I'm here to tell us, please, let's change our thinking. Dr. Aziza said, it's okay to use your phone. Please use your phone. Use your phone, but be very, very, pay attention to what you're using those phones for. Is it something that will better my life? Is it what will better the life of another person? Is it what will impact their life? And my prayer is that you will understand. Understanding is key. Understanding is key. If you pay attention to the things that you have been taught, the things that your mom and your dad are always hammering on, if you pay attention to it and you make just an effort to change a little bit of what they are saying, or to adopt and adapt those things that they are saying, trust me, and you commit everything into God's hands, He helps you. He guides you into what the career to do. He tells you His purpose for your life. I told my children, I need every one of you to go find out why God sent you here. I told them, I said, I'm praying too. I need to know why God, so I want each one of them. I have, how many teenagers? I have 4 teenagers. Yes. I tell them, find out why God sent you here. Find out. So that whichever career that you have decided to choose, after doing a lot of research, being on our phone and doing research, looking at what people are doing, the things that interest us, the way we want to go, guess what? We match that together with why God is sending us here. And guess what? You will be the most fulfilled human being in life. Remember, time is a powerful resource that a lot of us waste. And we cannot afford if we are asked to pay for the time that we waste. The Lord of heaven will guide us and bless us in Jesus' name.
All right, while we wait for the
coordinator or moderator, I think you already have too much information. So I don't want you to have information overload. Right now, what we will do is let's get feedback from you, questions from you. You know, if there are things you don't understand and you want for us to elaborate on, we will take it. So time for discussion now. And let's be factual, all right? We're here to guide you. So be factual. This is what I'm going through. This is my issue. This is my question. How can you guide me? The Holy Spirit is here to help us, okay? All right, who wants to go first? Who wants to go first? Any questions? Is everything as clear as mud or clear as water?
Okay, we have one person.
Great.
And the way we're going to do it, I know you guys know yourselves, but so that our presenters know who you are, before you ask your question, say what your name is, maybe your grade, and then your question. All right?
Hello, my name is Icon. I'm going to the 11th grade, so I'll be a junior in high school. So, one of the questions I have is about balancing your life. So, like, once you become an adult and you're like in your career, like you're following your career path, how do you balance your pleasures with your career? Because people are gonna wanna, you know, I don't want to work like, say, a 9-to-5 job where all day is just work, work, work. Then I get home and there's a few hours left to enjoy myself, and then maybe I'm looking forward only to the weekend. The rest of my week isn't fun. So how do I know how to actually like balance my enjoyment with like my money making?
Balancing his career and balancing life, his career, that's money making and living life, right? Okay. I'll just attempt. Okay, so because remember I said I am a stay-at-home mom, so that makes it easier for me. Okay, so Icon, my first question to you is that, do you intend to marry? Because if you're talking about life, you're looking at into the future. Am I right? Or you're looking at before, or you're looking at the total package? That's before marriage. Do you intend to marry? That's the first, because I don't want to assume that everybody wants to marry. So maybe there are some of us that want to be Paul here. Okay. Do you intend to marry? You want to have a family? Yes or no?
Neither. I'm not really sure when it comes to like my relationships in life, what exactly I'm aiming for. I guess whatever I'm led to do at the time, like if the Spirit tells me that this is what's going to be good for me, then that's what I'll go with. But I don't really know specifically if I want to be married or not.
Or not? You don't know that. Okay, so maybe it's going to be easier because you are not going to have a lot of people competing for your time at that time. Maybe you just have fewer people, because if you have children, you have to be able to balance. If you have a wife to attend to, you have to be able to balance. So, and then if you're making money, you want to like make money and have time for other things. So, what I would say is that when I started talking, I said God is the one that helps you to balance, no matter what you want to be. If you choose a career and then you go to work, you want to come back and do other things, right? You want to have maybe free time to play games. You have to have free time to. So God helps you to balance your life. But then it also boils down to, what are the things that interest you right now? What are the things that you want to do? You're not going to be able to do everything you're doing as a teenager. Okay? So I've been privileged to work with teenagers. Been privileged, like maybe 15 years now. So imagine the first teenagers I met 15 years ago. So let's say the youngest one is what, 13? 13 first 15, they are adults now. And so one of them told me, oh, I'm traveling to so with my friends. And I'm like, what are you guys going to do? Just to spend time. And I shook my head. I said, Um, so I said, anyway, do it now and enjoy it now. Because guess what? When you get married, there will be other things and other people that are asking for your time. So God, in the summary of it all, God helps us to balance our time. He helps you to go to work, make work. And to go to work, make money, come home and enjoy. But don't leave him out of whatever you do. Whatever you do. Otherwise, it gets very frustrating. Because there's so much that's competing for the 24 hours that you have. Work, enjoyment, family, life, church. Don't leave God out of your equation. Only him helps you to balance life. I hope I answered your question.
Okay, just to add to what she... Yeah, just to add to what she just said, only God balances our time for us, But at the end of the day, the truth is this. We try as much as possible when you have a career to balance your life. You just have to make time for different things. So take, for example, Icon, how many hours do you sleep a day on the average?
8.
8 hours?
8 to 8.
You sleep 8 hours?
8 to 10.
That's good. You sleep good. Okay, that's sleeping 8 hours. And then imagine yourself, you have to work for 8 hours, right? How many hours do you have left in a day?
I work for how long?
You work for 8 hours and then you sleep for 8 hours. How many hours do you have more in a day? That's 16, 24
Another
minus 16.
8, right?
That's about 8 hours, right? So you have 8 hours to do whatever you want to do, and then you shut down, right? So you find out that at the end of the day, you really don't have time. Because you come from work, you're exhausted, you have to rest. You don't have time to say you want to do extra things. When I get home, for example, I don't even think of what are the issues I have to deal with at home that I'm thinking about, not having fun. So when the time comes, you're going to face those challenges, and God will give us the grace to be able to overcome them. So don't worry about that. Balancing life, you just have to find a way to balance your life as you go along, as you move along.
Sorry, before, is your question answered?
Yeah, for the most part.
Pretty much?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
No, that was exactly what I wanted to ask, if his question was answered.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
he asked, we all know the stress of trying to balance life.
Right.
And that's what he was trying to say, how can I do better, or how can we do better?
Right.
My understanding is structure in life. God first, but having a structured life and also the spirit of contentment help us to map and balance things much better.
Right. So that's why I was asking if your question was answered, because I think they focused more on the future. I was thinking you're also asking for the now. How do I, or when he gets a job? Okay, because I didn't hear the question.
No, I think
That's also valid. Like, I also want to know that.
Yeah. So, how does he balance his time even now? 11th grade.
okay. How okay, I think we've all spoken about future and structure, like she said. It's still, that same structure applies even now. I think for an 11th grader, what is important at this point for you right now? If you're able to kind of in your mind segment, okay, this is important to me, this is important to me, you put the appropriate time to that particular thing, right? I need, for 11th grader, you need to be in class. You need school time. So you cannot take away the time that is for school and do it. You can't rob Peter to pay Paul. School is important to you, so you give it the time that is there. To do well in school, you need study time. You map out time there. So you kind of look at your life. This is what I need to be doing. This is what is important now. You give it the time that is necessary. Any remaining time, then you can figure out how you want to do with it, right? You cannot say, they really talked about so much on spending so much time and wasting time. You cannot spend the time that you're supposed to be reading doing TikTok, right? No, you give the time that you need to do for your studies, for every other thing that you need to do. Then remaining time that you have, you can think of what you want to do it. I wouldn't advise you to spend it on TikTok or whatever anyway, but you have your discretionary time, which you can use to sleep or do some other things that is impactful. So what I would say is, what are the things that are important for your age at this point? And if something you consider important, you make time for it. God, school, studying, you make time for that. Church, then if you have 2 more hours, 3 more hours, you ask yourself, what would benefit me? Then you can spend time to it. I agree with you, all work and no play makes cheesy a dull person. There's always time to play, right? So there will be, but you don't give play the whole of your time, then you will have kind of lost value.
Okay. Just to be very practical a little bit. From my experience, really, myself, even at this age, there hasn't been any day that I finished to do everything I wanted to do that day. Then what comes in then, you have to prioritize. What is important? You know, there are, what are those distractions that are out there? You know, is it really important? You know, what you look at all that you spend your time on. Is everything that you spend time on, are they all important? So let's get rid of the distractions that may be there. Everybody, they do have it. For example, I have devices that I use to work. I have my computer, I have my phone, I have my this. But I tell my children, I don't play computer games. You can't see computer games on, you can't see computer games on my device. You know, I'm being practical and I give you examples. There are people that I know that they've complained that my child was doing very well, excellently in school, you know, finished well in high school, now went to college, playing computer games with somebody in Japan till 4 a.m. You know, won't sleep. When they go to class, they can't listen. They can't comprehend because the brain must rest when the brain should rest. You must sleep when you should sleep. You must be awake when you should be awake and be able to concentrate. So, just like Doctor said, let's get rid of the distractions. Everybody do have them. Let's recognize them, get rid of them. Then you prioritize and do the important thing. Because I know somebody like you now must be doing a lot of SAT. You know, practicing SAT so that you can get the good school and you have to be granted. You understand what I'm saying? So that you can get into a good college and be able to pursue the opportunities that is in this land of opportunity.
All right, I guess that pretty much answers your question, but just for all of us, the key words are, 1, be productive with your time, productivity. Anything that you do that is not adding value to you, then don't do it, all right? Now, to be more practical, when you wake up in the morning as a teenager, draw up a to-do list. And in your to-do list, identify what are my must-dos every day. Like you said, you draw up a to-do list. You may not end up at the end of the list after 24 hours. But there must be things that you must do. And most of the things we have said here falls into one. Make sure that you have time for your studies. Make sure that you have time for God. The passage of scripture that we took a theme from in Jeremiah 29, that was what I was going to focus on. But There's a passage there, verse 12 to 14, that says, when you call on me, when you pray to me, when you come looking for me, when you get serious about finding me, this is God saying, then I will provide for you a good future. It's conditional. I'll give you a hope and a future only when you come to me for it. Are you getting it? So, there must be time for fellowship. Set apart in your to-do list. If it's 30 minutes, study to show yourself approved. There are some teenagers now, you ask some questions, they don't even know jack about it, about scriptures. Now, how do you get yourself grounded? So there must be time for communion with God. Apart from coming to church, it's not just coming to church. Have your time with God. Are you getting it? That's a must do. Have your time for studies. I always emphasize. Those, my children will say, oh, those Asians, they don't have life at all. They don't have no problem. If you study and you now have God backing you up, there's no way you will not be up there. Are you getting my point? So there must be time for study. Those are must-dos. Once you've structured, like mommy said there, structure your life, pattern it, and then there must be time to attend to your parents too. When they say, go and do this, go and do that. Once you let them know, in my time scale, I'll do it at this time. Not doing it is what makes them angry. What makes the mommies angry. Not doing it. But if they know that you have structured your time and you have given time for when you will do the chores that they want you to do, hey, you'll be their best buddy. Are we getting the point? Thank you very much. All right, any other question? Throw them at us, yes?
Hi, my name is Tosin, and I'm going to be a senior this year. And I have like 4 questions.
Shoot.
Okay. Sorry. So my first question is, how do you differentiate between a passion and a hobby? So how do you know whether to go forward with something that you like doing and pursue it as a career, or when to just say, like, this is just something I like to do on the side, and then keep it that way?
Second question.
How to determine whether or not a passion can become a career. So it's kind of like that same question, but it's like once you decide, how do you go through with that, and how do you like sort of manifest it into becoming something worthwhile? My third question is, these aren't in order, but how to pick a passion. So if you have multiple things that you're interested in, how do you focus on one, and how do you pull one out and say that this is what I like to do better than everything else? Because I have multiple interests and I don't know which one I particularly enjoy the most, or which one I see a career in the most. And my last question is, should you keep a job or a passion when you lose interest? So you said that earlier on, like what we like now, 5 years from now, might not be the same thing that we like then. So throughout the span of, let's say, college or high school or whatever, how do we keep going and like in hopes that we don't lose interest? And when we do, what do we do after that?
Okay. Very good questions. Very good questions. All right. Who wants to give it a stab? Yeah? Doctor.
I'll take the first one, the issue of passion and hobby. You know, to me, a hobby could lead to a passion and then a career. You know, look at it that way. But if you have a hobby and the hobby is your passion and that passion leads to a career, you have to be very, very excellent in that hobby that is leading to a passion and then to a career. Take, for example, I've done a lot of things. I used to be, or I'm still, or I'm a photographer. Some of us know that. When I started, it was like a hobby. I went for a friend's wedding, you know. I was just taking pictures by the side. And then it was a hobby then. What happened? I took it as a passion. I started acquiring things. Oh, I could buy this lens and take this picture, you know. It became a passion. I've grown to the next level. And then guess what happened? I lost my job. For almost 2 years, I had no job. I had to take care of my family. What happened? That hobby, passion, became like a temporary career. I was making money out of it. I was able to use it to sustain myself and my family to an extent. So before I now went back to pharmacy school, graduated. So what I'm saying is I could take that hobby I had in the beginning that now became a passion and then turn it into a career, but you have to excel. There are a lot of photographers out there, we see their work, we know what they do. The question is, you have to ask yourself some tough questions. Am I up to that level? Do I have the required education? I don't know how they started. Maybe they self-taught themselves, which was what I did. I developed the hobby, went to YouTube, did a lot of research, did a lot of things to get me to that level. But still, I know I'm not up to some certain levels that's like, okay, if this person is not taking my picture, I'm not doing anything. We have those instances. So you have to excel in your hobby that's turned into a passion to make it a career that's going to sustain you. I don't know if that answers the question. Yeah.
So, I'll build on what you just said. When you really talk about career, somebody has to be willing to pay for either that service or product, right? Hobby is more on the, I am kind of having fun. You are just doing something because you like it, it relieves stress for you. Turn it into a passion, it begins to take that education that you talked about, trying to educate yourself to become excellent, right? In that part, it drives beyond, I'm just having fun. I really want to understand what is inside there. I really want to understand what makes this thing work this way. So the interest increases from hobby, which is just a relief of stress or having fun, to really understanding the ins and outs of whatever that passion or whatever that thing is. But by the time it gets to the career point, somebody has to be willing to pay money for that. He talked about photography. Somebody has to be willing to pay money for you to take the photograph. And to get to that point of excellence, you are willing to put in the necessary education that is needed to do that. If it's going to school of photography, if it's going to school of fashion, you are now putting the necessary education to move from beyond, I just enjoy this thing, to actually get to the point where somebody is willing to pay you money for that thing. So that's when it graduates from hobby to where it earns you money. The point that you talked about is how can you switch? Is it easy? You talked, I think the way you had it there is switching. No, I'm kind of jumping. What should you do when you lose interest? Okay.
When you lose interest in your passion that has become a career.
Is it at the point where it becomes a career? Okay, what do you do? Okay, one thing we kind of talked about here is making sure that you are fulfilled, right? And we talked about also being able to sponsor yourself or feed your family. If you are at the point where it's like once you lose interest, you jump out. Once you lose interest, you jump out. It may not necessarily be the right thing. Then said, even though I've said that, I don't think it's also good to stay in where you are not finding fulfillment. So at the point where you are losing interest or where you've lost passion, you have to ask yourself, can I afford to change? If I do, or to stick with it? What exactly is driving that loss of passion? It could actually be maybe you are stressed out and you just need a small break from what you are doing now. That's one thing. But if it's just completely, I've lost interest, you still have to ask yourself, can I afford the time to go back and retrain myself for another thing? So you wouldn't just jump out without, first of all, thinking and planning how you are going to do it. I love doctor that talked about he read geology and he went back to do pharmacy. He was able to change his interest. That's great. But I know he was also willing to pay the price to go and retrain himself, right? So you have to be willing to pay that price. If you're not willing to pay that price, you may really stick it out in the profession that you are in. I was talking to somebody over the weekend, I think over the weekend too, and he talked about changing careers, because honestly, I came to a point in my own life where I'm kind of thinking changing because I'm not enjoying what I'm doing or something like that. But the main point the person brought is that's planning ahead. Are you willing to retrain? Are you willing to pay the price that is necessary? If you're not willing to pay the price that is necessary, you may want to, because of financial needs, stick it out and stay in it. But if you are willing to retrain yourself, willing to pay the sacrifice for retraining, then go for it. That is my thing.
Let me have a go at it. I try to be practical in the sense that, when passion, hobby and passion becomes a career, it automatically means that you are earning a living from it. That living you are earning from that career is very, very important in the sense that it helps you to sustain both your want and your need. So if you're no longer interested in that